Happy birthday, big guy. Yes, I am now recording this on September the 6th, Wednesday, September the 6th, 2023, which is to say the 35th anniversary of No Sax Please Were Egyptian being broadcast on UK TV. As discussed, the American date may have been earlier or possibly later, according to some sources. I think consensus now is earlier. But if the royals can have two birthdays, I don't see why Duckula can't as well. So what do you say to that, big guy? Indeed. So yeah, as I promised, I've got something pretty special for this last video, or possibly there'll be two last videos because I want to do a little wrap up as well. You may be thinking, well, now that you've given this introduction, I know for a fact it's going to be two videos because you would have edited this out otherwise. But I'll keep this in either way, just to get some suspense. Although, admittedly, you may know if you see that there's a video 9 or video 10. I will cut away to what I have to show you. I mean, again, you may know from the title already. But yeah, let's go away and I'll give Duckula the final word before we jump away. I don't believe it. You will believe it. Okay, so what it is is Cels. Yes, indeed. So this is the prize of my collection. This is a Cel. I have to be careful not to get too much camera glare on here. This is a Cel from the episode Who Done It, which I consider to be my favourite episode of Duckula. I kind of always did, but this sort of sealed the deal. It's a very funny episode, even though it has a complete anticlimax, like Deus Ex Machina ending. But, you don't watch Duckula for... I won't say you won't watch Duckula for plot, because some of the plotting is very, very funny and witty itself, but you don't watch Duckula for serious resolutions to mystery, so that's never bothered me. In fact, I forgot what the ending was after most times I saw it until quite recently. But yeah, this is a frame cell from that episode. It's from a bit where there's a court scene towards the end where Duckula is both being himself and being his legal representative. And, it's part of that kind of cartoon cliche where somebody does multiple roles at once and jumps very quickly back and forth for it. I feel like it's kind of a modern cartoon cliche, although I suppose it dates back to the Bugs Bunny cartoon from the mid-40s where he plays the entire baseball team. But yeah, it's a very funny scene, and this was a present for my 25th birthday. And you can probably do the math yourself from some of the other comments I've made when my 25th birthday was, but I'll just be straight up front and say that was as long ago as December 2011. Yeah, it was a present from my mother, and I had it framed. And yeah, as you can imagine, I consider it the prize of my collection. But it's not where this video ends. Yes, here is the drawing for the scene in question, or for the cell in question. Because as I imagine most people who are watching this kind of thing would know, traditional animation was animated on paper and then sent to the ink and paint department to put on cells, where it was eventually then became one of the frames that was broadcast in the program, one of the many, many frames that was broadcast in the program. So yeah, here's the little drawing. You can sort of see the cell number down there. Cell numbers actually being something that accidentally sneaks into one episode of Duckula, which is something I'll maybe discuss for a video another time. But yeah, so very nice to have this as well. And it was also framed. So, but we're not stopping there. So many years after those two cells, I later won an eBay bid for kind of a job lot of cells from the show. This is only a couple of years ago. Apparently the reason that Cosgrove Hall cells are quite common is because supposedly they used to have tours where they would hand out cells from the various shows to guests after they have the tours. Now we'll just have a look at the cells that are here. And these haven't been framed. We've just put these in this binder. And I have... what I've done is where they're available, I've put the cell next to the paper image in question, and we'll sort of talk about what these are. As you can see, this is a bit of Duckula jumping up in the air in joy. I don't know 100%. I don't know which episode this is from. If anyone knows any of the episodes I'm not able to identify, do let me know. But this is, yeah, I mean, probably thinking about money, knowing him or something, some kind of get rich quick screen. So yeah, nice drawing there. This is Duckula in profile, walking away. Most of his face obscured by his cape. But, yep, still nice to have. Now this is one where I do know which episode this is from. This is from Dead-Eye Duck. It's quite distinctive. It's the only episode where he wears a sheriff's outfit. And you can see on the drawing there's some, I think there's probably the reference from the previous cell, or this is two extremes, one of the previous cells, so they know how to dip the hat. But they would the ink and paint department would know not to copy that. So yeah, that's a cell from Dead-Eye Duck, one of at least two cells in here where I know for sure where they came from. This is one of a series of cells of Nanny and Igor walking on screen. We'll get to the others in a second, but not sure which episode this is from. It could possibly be from Prince Duckula, because there's a sequence in there where Nanny and Igor are walking through a series of different rooms trying to find their beloved master. But it could also be from any other number of episodes, because Nanny and Igor spent a lot of time on the show walking, obviously. I think that to mind because that's one of the relatively rare scenes where Nanny and Igor are walking on the cells, although it's entirely possible / likely that there will be other characters in the scene, and we just happen to have the bit of Nanny and Igor being animated together. So yeah, there's the next little bit, and quite a funny drawing of Igor there. He looks pretty peeved. Nanny and Igor walking forward again. More of Igor's body's coming on camera, but not his leg. So yeah. Also, if you look up here, you'll see this was, if I'm understanding this animation notation correctly, this was number 12 in a sequence of drawings, and it was an extreme, and the next extreme would be number 15, with the in-betweens to be 13 and 14. Yep, so getting into pretty nerdy animation territory here, but if you're watching this, you're probably at least a bit of an animation nerd, or wish to be one. So go over to the next page, and for the next page I'm going to have one of my famous camera angle changes. So yeah, here's one of a sequence of drawings, which I possibly don't even have in the right order, of Nanny walking. I mean, these two last two are pretty minimal difference. I think the main difference is Nanny's mouth. Is that even right? Let's see. So, the mouth looks the same last two. I think the first two are. But yeah, this just shows how much detail you have to go with traditional animation, like how you have to keep drawing these minimal changes to drawings that are otherwise the same. So how much attention to detail you needed to do then, or with any animation really. So back to the other way around, I think. So these last few, I don't have the original drawing. I've just got a sheet of paper behind them so you can see the images clearly, and so there aren't any spoilers. This is another image. I cannot 100% tell for sure if Duckula is happy, or I think you might be angry here. But I don't know which episode this is from. But yeah, still, it's very nice. Still quite a nice clear drawing. So this one's quite distinctive. It's easy to tell. If you know what episode this is from. This is from Private Beak. It's the only episode where Duckula wears a Mac, I believe. It's the only episode where he's tied to a chair. This is an episode that is kind of a spoof of Humphrey Bogart films and so forth, and which just remind me of like one of the things I do like about Duckula is that most of the reference points are like early 20th century things. This is from the era where people would still watch old films on TV or buying old films on video. We didn't have the infinite options we have now. You had to kind of make an effort to get into things, and so these things that weren't brand new were still a part of our culture. So yeah, here's the last cell. I don't know which episode this is from. It could be from either Ghostly Gold or Alps of Daisy. It could not. But those are two episodes where I remember there's a prominent scene where Duckula's messing about with a stool, and yes, I do know the series to that level, although, I could be forgetting some other prominent stool appearances, but those are two stool-based scenes that stick out in my memory. Now, I don't know because this doesn't quite look to me. Because the thing with Ghosty Gold is it's one of the episodes animated by the British animation team. Because there's the British animation team and the Spanish animation team that worked on Duckula. The British animation team made about 23 episodes, so just over a third. And the Spanish team made the remaining 42. I think I've got those numbers right. I may not, but it's roughly right anyway. But yeah, I'll talk a little about that while we take a look through the Cels again. So yeah, as much as it dents my national pride to say so, generally speaking, the ones that are made by the Spanish team are kind of more fluid, which perhaps isn't surprising because they had about, from what I checked, I had a look, they had about 37 to 38 animators working on each episode they worked on. Whereas I looked at the British animation team episodes, and they had anywhere from 13, so already a huge reduction from 37, all the way down to, I think I saw one episode that was only animated by 8 people. And if you've ever had any experience with, honestly, any form of animation, but particularly something that could be considered somewhat traditional animation that is either done on paper or done digitally but without rigs, you have an idea of how much work that would be. In theory, not it's going to be divided up like this, but if you had 8 people working on roughly 20 minutes of new animation, that would be about 2.5 minutes per person, which is just thousands of drawings. It's just, it's a lot. But yeah, generally speaking, the Spanish episodes are more they're more impressive in the traditional sense. They're more fluid, I dare say. But the British episodes, they have their own charms, and they have got like a looser kind of sketchier style. I think if you're, you don't have to be a total expert to be able to tell the difference between them at a glance, or at least you won't be if you carefully select examples. The British ones tend to have a slightly pointier, more angular look to the character designs, like bits of anatomy are kind of pointier and less rounded than they are in the Spanish versions, or the Spanish episodes. I don't know if they were working from different model sheets at all. I don't know, because generally speaking, the idea of model sheets that people stick to it, but I know that other productions from around the same time where they find them out to different studios, like, for example, Tiny Toon Adventures, if you look at the different way the characters were drawn by different studios in that, there's quite a stark contrast. And I don't want to... And we also say that the British... episodes also tend to have a slightly different feel, at least early on. They have like a slightly more melancholic tone to it, I dare say. They tend to lay more into the kind of gothic atmosphere as well. They even have like certain music cues, like a lot of the harpsichord heavy stuff that more or less than mostly appears prominently in the British episodes, particularly the one...
Here, you snivelling wretch. Have you ever had your head tweaked? Your arms pulled from their sockets, boiled in oil, and stuck back on again.
That only appears in a couple of the Spanish ones. It may be that the British ones were done early as well to try and get to get the look of the show down, because the difference in look between the British episodes and the Spanish episodes does kind of shrink for the most part in series 3 and 4. And some of the earlier Spanish ones, or some of the Spanish ones earlier as well, have a slightly quirkier look to them. So there is some crossover. And also, I don't want to imply that the British ones weren't well animated in their own right. Some of them have, for example, Dr. Goosewing and Mr. Duck is only made by 8 people. The one I saw that seemed to have only 8 credited animators. And that's a fantastic looking episode. So very well done to them there. And, and some of the ones that... several of the British ones will pop on my favourites list, which I may get to later. But yeah, I think that's about covered what I want to say regards to the animation of the show. So I think I will take a bit of a breather here and then come back to you with a final wrap-up. So, yeah, I think we will be stretching to a 10th video. So, catch you on the flip side. Just finished. I feel like I should end by going back for all the cells. Just seems right. Okay, cheerio.